to another video on Hades Beer Corner channel. Now, for the second time in a row, I'll be talking about a Finnish beer. Even though, as I mentioned last time, most Finnish beers taste like goblin piss. Not that I have any personal experience on goblin piss, but what I've heard of goblin piss, I would definitely not like to drink any goblin piss. Nor would I want to drink any absolutely garbage beers in general. But hey, who knows? Shit happens. The last video last week was, yeah, it was solid 4.5. Not my type because it was way too sour. For me, there are more sour and saltier beers, like literally saltier beers, like German and Belgian goods. But that is a completely different story, and I probably will talk about at some point good beers, but that will be at some point in very distant future, and I need to prepare myself mentally for that. But now to the beer of the day. Now, the beer of the day is from a Finnish brewery, Hiisi, which, let's see, oops, let's see, for the camera. This is, the brewery is Hiisi, which is sort of a devil-like figure from Finnic. It's his or he's in Estonian and Hiisi in Finnish. It's sort of a devil-like creature in Finnic folklore and mythology. And Ikiiurso or Ikiturso, it's kind of a mythological sea creature of sorts, like a bit like the Finnic the Finnic version of the Kraken. The Finnish version of the Kraken is maybe the best description for Ikiturso. So this is a Finnish craft brewery uh, based in Jyväskylä, and it's an imperial stout, 12% ABV alcohol by volume, and it's a barrel aged imperial stout now, and it's unfiltered, vegan, uh, and so forth, all the good and yummies. Now, what is stout? It's dark, top fermented beer style, which includes it has several subcategories like imperial stout, oatmeal stout that I've talked about an oatmeal stout, and I think I've had a milk stout, but I've never had, for example, a dry stout. But I will try and find some and stouts and imperial stouts by extension and porters are warm fermented as opposed to cold fermented, which is the case in, for example, Pilsner and lager type beers in general. Now, up until the 14th century, uh, um, the word stout in English had uh, a bit different meaning, but I won't go into that because I think it's just linguistic history at best in that sense. So the first time that stout was documented to being used for beer was around 1677 in Egerton manuscript, and at that time, and for a few centuries after that, it mostly referred to its strength because stouts are quite strong, and up to 17 can be up to 17% ABV. But I am yet to find any uh, stout or imperial stout that would be uh, over 14 point something percent ABV. And stout has its roots in porters, and it was referring to strong porter type beers. Now, porter originated in London, England in early 1720s, and it became quite uh, popular in London and uh, among porters or the port workers in particular, and hence the name. Um, Porters and by extension stouts and imperial stouts and the other variants has and had a strong taste, and um, it doesn't spoil as easily and as quick as fast as um, for example pilsner and lager type beers, and it was significantly at the time cheaper than other types of beer, and wasn't really affected by temperature and heat. Uh, so, and these porters were typically varied in strength, a bit, but on the stronger end, they were typically 7 or 8% alcohol by volume. That were called stout porters. Stout porters. So the stronger porters, 7 to 8% at the time. But imperial stouts are a lot stronger, from up to 12 to 14 point something percent. I still have in for example, I have one. I think it's specifically imperial stout in my cabinet that is 14.6% ABV, but that's a different story. I'll get to that beer at some time in perhaps not so distant future, but we'll see. So imperial stout, the type of beer this is. And this has, by the way, won the best internationally, the best imperial stout prize 4 years consecutively between 2018 and 2021. So, as mentioned, this is an imperial stout, also known as Russian imperial stout. It's dark, strong, like type of porter and stout. Well, strong stout. It now strong porter stouts can sometimes be used synonymously, but for the sake of conversation and this video, we'll call it uh, imperial stout, and it's classified as such. It's a dark, strong stout in style that the brewing started in the 18th century by Thrale's Anchor Brewery in London. That was purchased by another brewery and brewed as such with um, the the Anchor's brewery logo until 1993, I think, and it was exported to the court of Catherine the Great, or Catherine the Second of Russia, and in 1781 the brewery changed hands and was then called Barclay Perkins Imperial Stout from there on, and it was shipped by Albert von Lecoq, who was awarded a Russian royal warrant by the courts of Catherine II, which entitled him to use the name imperial. When analyzed, when analyzed from history, from the time period between 1849 to 1986, show that the beer had an original gravity of 1.1 and 1.107 and an alcohol content of around 10% ABV, and this remained virtually unchanged the entire period. And the original recipe from 1856 um, also indicates that it was hopped at the rate of 10 pounds or of hops per barrel, which is about 28 grams per liter, and that remained practically unchanged. And I've talked about Baltic porters on this channel before. Um, so Baltic porter is a version of imperial stout. So it's not Baltic porter is technically a stout, not a porter. And Baltic porter originated, as the name suggests, in the Baltic region in 19th century, and the imperial stouts imported from Britain were recreated using local ingredients and brewing traditions, and hence, voila, they had Baltic porter. So basically, the there are barrel-aged versions of a number of beer styles, but primarily stouts and imperial stouts and Baltic porters, and this has been matured or aged in a bourbon barrel. That means that after brewing, it has been poured into an oak barrel, typically an oak barrel, um, almost all pretty much exclusively oak barrel, in which bourbon has been aged before that, and it's aged there from anywhere between um, a year to a number of years, actually. So to give it a deeper taste, texture, and a perhaps an extra taste of bourbon, whiskey, red wine, etc., sherry, etc., etc. But this has been aged in a bourbon barrel, which means basically an oak barrel where um, bourbon has been aged before uh, this beer has been put into that barrel. So it gives that subtle taste and smell of bourbon. So let's go, and this is a glass that is designed and meant for barrel aged beers or BA beers. It's a little slightly fruity. It's very. I'll show you. I'll pour it into a glass. Okay. And I used my Rirakuma bottle opener. So it gives me a reasonably thick and very dense head. The foam is called head. Uh, quite fruity, which for the fruitiness and sweetness comes from the bourbon barrel, especially the sweetness in the smell. Okay, now I understand why this has been chosen as the best imperial stout for 4 times in a row from 2018 to 2021. It's really soft. The taste is, and the mouthfeel is very soft, mm, malty, and roasty coffee-ish aftertaste. I think, and it has that slight, subtle hints, or the taste also has subtle hints of bourbon, and the aftertaste is quite roasted, you know, roasted roasted uh, black malts. That it's called black malts, and it's really soft, and there's a slight bitterness in the aftertaste. So it's all round uh, a an excellent excellent imperial stout. Really good. Mm. I give this. Mm, let's say, let's see. I give this a 10. This is so good. This is so good, and so it has so much. It has so much in it. It got explodes. So it's a solid good 10. If you made it this far, very big thank you for watching my videos, and this video as well. Please go check my other videos. Um, I would really highly appreciate if you leave me a like, subscribe, and tickle the notification bell to get notifications for more videos like this in the future. Bye.